Samuels.
Hello, welcome to our second podcast for Elisabeth and I. And today we get to talk about SEO Spring Training and introduce Clint Butler to you as our co-host for this year's Spring Training. And then we have another guest coming on board here in a little bit. Anyways, welcome. Elisabeth, you want to say anything?
Hi, happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Hope everyone's having a better Monday than I am at this point.
Yeah, it's been a crazy Monday for sure. So, let's see here. I think we are good. Okay, perfect. All right. So today we were just going to talk a little bit about the first SEO Spring Training, which obviously Clint was there. He spoke at. Talk a little bit about, what kind of drew him to that event and kind of just his thoughts and feelings about SEO Spring Training as a whole. He's been involved every year for sure. The digital, he hung out with us for many, many straight days, which was pretty awesome.
It was horrible.
Listen to your snack.
Exactly. So, well, welcome, Clint. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you guys for having me. It's nice that you two finally got off the wagon and started the podcast.
Yeah, we heard that too. That's for sure. So, but that's awesome. Yeah, it's and we've been wanting to do it for a while, but we had the misconception of, hey, we need to have a studio and we have all this equipment, but we're gonna move here sometime this year, and so we're just gonna do it this way to get set up. But no, it's great. It's great to have you.
You've been watching too much Joe Rogan. You don't need all that stuff.
Yeah, I know. That's for sure. Let me turn my phone down. So what? How did we meet? Do you remember?
Oh, geez. I think it was Rockstars. There's our man Marty.
Yeah.
But we certainly were in a lot of Facebook groups, probably back in around the time when I was actually bouncing around the group to group and talking to a lot of people. And it's also doing not only groups, but Facebook pages. It was really my way into the space, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of how we got connected. We didn't really know each other face to face very much, despite being only 4 hours away from each other. Until
when did you move down here from Washington? What year? You remember?
I don't. I think it was 2015, 2016 when I got back from Afghanistan.
Yeah, when you lived up there, I was having you do my core reports. So actually, it's probably I think it was actually Dade, I think, that was doing them. So way back then, you get delivered with a nice CD, or not CD, but video about all the different reports.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
So, that's awesome. So what did you when that's the first spring? Hi, Marty. This is Marty Marion, everybody. So
hey, everybody.
We'll introduce Marty here in a second. So what did you when you came to the first spring training? What did you think of that event in 2019 for our first shot at this whole conference routine?
I mean, that was a long time ago, but it was small, quaint. That was my first exposure to Marty, and been a loyal follower ever since. He actually, for me, he was the ROI of going to that conference. I mean, yeah, I was speaking there, and I get to know some more people, but for me, just seeing Marty alone was awesome. And that's probably a presentation. I mean, when I'm referencing people or people talking about CRO or positioning, I'm like, I'm not an expert at all. If you want to talk to an expert, go talk to this dude. And to this day, I still send people to Marty.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, Marty. I'll tell a little bit of story about Marty at the spring training here in a minute. Anyways, welcome, Marty. Thank you for joining us. It's great to see you. One of my favorite people in this business, without a doubt.
Well, thank you for the invite. Great to be here.
Exactly. So how did we meet? how did you and I meet? Because it was kind of oddballish. I think it was kind of reverse of what we both thought.
I don't actually remember how you and I first met, but I think our first in person was at Spring Training of 19.
Yep.
Which was pretty much one of the first conferences that I had ever really presented at. I'd been doing, my consulting work and private client work for a long time, and was part of a couple of the big SEO groups and marketing groups, but it didn't really open up any doors to the world of collaborating with experts in the field. Just like Clint said, there are pieces of this business that I know really well, as good as anybody could. And there are pieces of this business that I just don't know about. I know about them. I don't know how to do them. I don't know how to do them right. So I turn to other people like yourself, like Clint, for example, when we talk about things like schema. If you want something done right, you go to the pro.
Yeah, that's awesome. When Marty and I, we met, I can't remember exactly the whole premise of why we had a Zoom call together, but it kind of, Marty started to get to know me. I started to get to know him. And I think we talked for like 3 hours that day. And then he was actually one of the first people I called to see if he wanted to speak at spring training, mainly because of the different way he approaches the project of any project. And it really opened my eyes. It changed the way we onboard people. It changes the way we go after, and we look at the different, especially in the heavy competition areas, how we can, deposition our competitors, reposition us to be better, and in all different aspects of it. And when you spoke at spring training, one of the things that we all try to do as hosts, and other conferences do the same thing. It's not just us, but we always try to bring people, introduce people to kind of the family, so to speak, that people have never seen before. That might be doing things a different way, but it's also really, really working. And so one of the goals when we started doing spring training or talking about spring training and figuring out who we wanted to speak is, I wanted somebody that would impress the speakers, and if you can impress the speakers, you've obviously impressed the room. So Clint and about 3 of the other speakers just came up and just said, "Damn, where did you find Marty?" And it's really cool because, I've obviously been an avid follower about your group and all the different things you do, your courses and stuff. And it will change the way an agency or even a freelancer approaches a project at a larger scale. You think about things differently.
I think that it's really important to note that there are some people in this industry, in our game, who are sponges, and they soak up what they hear from other pros and what they read online and watch videos about. And, I've always believed that if you play the game, any game, the way it's supposed to be played, that you're always going to be playing catch up because somebody's always set the rules, right? If you didn't set the rules, somebody else did. And if they did, it's likely that you don't know them as well as that person does. So if I can see an opportunity to raise the bar by doing something differently than others may do it, I feel it gives me an advantage. It gives my clients an advantage. That's all assuming that it works. I was not a very, very big believer let me say this differently. I was not a very big practitioner of testing before the spring training of 2019. And, when I met Clint specifically and, Kyle and some of the other people out there who dedicate a significant portion of their work in this business to testing, changed my whole perspective. And when you can bring a group of people together that are at the top of the game, but can still teach each other something new, it's an irresistible combination.
100%. I agree with that. Clint, any comments about that type of stuff?
No, nothing intelligent to add.
I think the biggest thing is that, one of the things that I love about this business is you can do a lot of different things to get to the end result, and some are going to take a lot longer than other ways, of course. Some are going to be more specifically driven because it's like you said, a tested system. And then you have people out there that kind of just throw balls everywhere and just, hope something hits, and I do believe every time I speak, every time I hold an event, testing is our number one thing. And it's only because, if what is working, it still doesn't mean it can work better, faster, stronger, all that kind of stuff. So
You also have to keep in mind, Terry, that we have a force in this industry, a very powerful force called Google, that we don't control. We would like to. We would love to, catch a little advantage, but what, for example, any of my clients do on their websites, that's controllable. What I do is I can control what I do. Consumers, right, who are all reaching out for, the end buyer, whether it's a consumer or a client, whether you're in e-com or services, doesn't matter. There's an end user that directly impacts the revenue stream. Let's face it, we're all in business for, different reasons, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to, are we being profitable? Are we contributing margin to the bottom line?
Get paid.
Right. And this beast out there called Google that scares the daylights out of people, even professionals in our industry, they switch up the game every day. And, was it you? Actually, I think it was you who posted today that there were major, algorithmic seismic waves today. What are you supposed to do about this? You got to sit back and you got to see what's happening and, look at what other people are saying. And it's just such a guessing game to a large degree that I personally think every ounce of advantage that you can bring to the party helps. And, I don't come from a traditional SEO or web dev background at all. I come from, the big advertising world. And we did things very differently, right? We were always looking at what the competitor was doing and tried to do it better. That applies directly in SEO too. Because if you want to rank in, a top premium position for a certain keyword or set of keywords, somebody's already there. And if it's not you, then they did something that you didn't do. So what was it? Do they have more pages? Do they have more topical authority? Do they have more content? Do they have more backlinks? Do they have more whatever? And you try to replicate it. And that's, and Clint, you and I talked about this a long time ago. That's why some of the tools that became very popular, right? Like Pop and Surfer, because they looked at, the comparison of who was winning. And they told you that, you need 82 more instances of this keyword on your homepage. Those are the kinds of things that give us those little advantages. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's you always I love reverse engineering things, and the technical side of what I like to do is why are they there, or why are they not there anymore and they used to be, so that's one of my favorite things too. So any other things, Clint, on testing and stuff like that obviously your group does a whole bunch of testing. I don't know what's the latest number of tests up there.
Well, I think that a lot of the idea behind testing kind of gets lost for a lot of people, and there's to me in SEO testing, there's either A/B testing or there's single variable testing. In the A/B testing, where the single variable testing tells you what to look at, and the A/B testing tells you how much that stuff matters. And unfortunately, there's plenty of people in both of those camps that think one or the other is the end all be all, and neither of them are right because they haven't tested the other version, which is kind of ironic. So, I mean, I'm with you guys. It's if you're responsible enough and you consider yourself to be a thought leader in your market, you should be testing this stuff and know what works and what doesn't, and be able to and not only talk about stuff that you tested but that you thought of and that failed just as much as you talk about the stuff that was successful, if you want to build credibility to your own.
For sure. Yeah, just don't share your successes, make sure you share your failures too in your groups.
And that's something that I struggle with to this day. I was having this conversation with my own AMA today. I try to stay above board, to try to be the honest broker when I'm dealing with talking about tools or talking about techniques or etc. And I'm nowhere near as successful as people that just bullshit their way through life. So at some point you gotta kind of find, I don't know, maybe I need to change my positioning or whatever, and and be Batman. I don't know, maybe Batman will get rich. We'll see how that works out.
That's for sure.
I'm really, really excited about spring training coming up. First of all, it's grown so massively. You guys all deserve an amazing round of applause for what you've built here, because this is something that's going to sustain. The way this is rolling, the people that are coming in, the quality of the presenters and the speakers and the topics, the structure of when you first did it, you and I, Terry, we spoke, and Elisabeth, you and I spoke a couple of months before the actual event, in preparation for it. And there were so many details that had never been done before. Everything was just, should we do it this way? Should we do it that way? And it was very successful. As I said, I met people in person that I'd only heard about as legends in the industry, like Clint being one of them, you being another one, speaking. And, I had the opportunity to absorb at a completely different level. I think if this pandemic taught us anything, it's that details matter more than you think they do. And broad strokes are great, but they're the cost of entry, right? You've got to
Mhm.
do some things to be a player in the game. But the details is, they're saying the devil's in the details, right?
Mhm.
It's one thing to read something somebody posts on Facebook. It's one thing to take a course from somebody. But you get a chance to sit there for a couple of days and absorb and talk and question. I'll come back the second day to somebody who presented the day before.
Mhm.
And I'll say, last night I was thinking about what you said, and this and that and the other thing clicked, and I'm a little confused about, and you can get a clarification. You can take it in a new direction. This in-person capability is so critical that I don't think there's a substitute for it. Zoom calls are great.
Mhm.
StreamYard calls are great. I do them all the time. You do them all the time. Everybody does them. But there's nothing like being in the room.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing is that, it's important to us obviously to provide not just value, but we spend a lot of time before we even choose the venue of where we're going to be. We want to make sure that it's designed for networking and getting together and just spending time with each other.
Yeah.
All the speakers stay at the hotel, so if you want to talk more to Marty, if you want to talk more to you know Travis Weather, some of the other ones that we have coming in, that's what they're there for. They've we spend a lot of time to make sure that we provide an environment, and this is our first time we went 3 days. So and the prices didn't increase that much compared to last year. So we added in the third day, and now it's just like, okay, now we think we're stepping out. Doing the afternoon breakout sessions, I think, are going to be really popular. Um, Especially if people are just at a certain stage that they want to master or not master, they want to learn all they can about one variable on page or AI or something like that. So yeah, we're looking forward to it this year. We're looking forward to introducing, there's about 5 or 6 speakers that really, haven't been too much in our family, so to speak. And a lot of them that have spoke at other events that we've all been to. But I think it's going to be really exciting this year. I do really do. And in 2019, we did the Diamondbacks Cubs game for our
Oh, I remember that.
and that was still people come up to me that went to that and just said that was awesome. Well, this year we're doing the Diamondbacks Yankees. So
Whoa.
another one. So and Yankees were hard to we had a struggle negotiating the Yankees. It's one of the big sellouts for any baseball team, obviously. So we're really excited about that. There's still a couple tickets left for that, but I think you're right. I think the details are important. And you need to. I think we as hosts we need to make sure that not just providing value, but providing ease to get around. I went to TNC, which TNC was massive, obviously, but man, it was very unorganized. It's like you get lost at a conference, and so that was kind of interesting. But I do think it's going to be great. You're opening for us this year, which I'm super happy for, because it just starts everybody off thinking about SEO differently right out
Yeah,
of the gate.
I've got something up my sleeve for
Yeah.
spring training. Something I've been working on for the last 2 years. And I guess the testing that I've done on it has been mostly, uh, in vivo, real time, real clients, real websites that I've deployed this on, because there really wasn't any other way to test. There are some things that you can test on a test platform or a test website, right? You can A/B test, as Clint said, headlines, meta information. But there are some things that, if you really want statistically projectable capabilities, you got to test them at scale.
Hmm.
And I was fortunate enough to have a couple of clients that trusted me enough to let me rattle and shake up what they were doing, and put their whole business on the line, basically. Because if I screwed up, their revenue went down like a lead balloon. But they trusted me, and I experimented. I deployed a few things that are inseparable from SEO. I won't say that they are purely SEO, but they absolutely have an impact on the SEO, and the world of SEO has an impact on these techniques that I'm going to teach at spring training. But it's very, very exciting. And I love bringing new things to the party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know you do, and it it usually sends us in a different direction also, because we're like, oh crap, we gotta go. So your last two courses just kind of did that to us. We're like, okay, this is going great. It's, oh, here's some new stuff, and now we got to go down this path, which is what is great about it.
You know, there's so much about this industry that to become a true master, like an A-level SEO, call yourself that, there's so much to know. I think it's getting harder and harder and harder for someone to rise to the top of the pyramid in this game. It's becoming more competitive. There are more players than ever. The funniest joke is, SEO is dead. SEO is dead, right? Every time I turn around, SEO is bigger than it was yesterday, and more complicated. And there are new things to do and things to learn. And wow, right? So how can you really become a master of absolutely everything? Yeah. So, my hat goes off to people who have thought through taking a position that one topic or another topic really makes an impact and master it. I'm not getting paid to say any of this, but between you, Terry, and Clint, I don't think there's anybody else in the world, forget the world of SEO, I don't think there's anybody else in the world that understands the nuances and the power of schema the way you guys do. I mean, so it would cause me, if I were a client and I grasped that schema was important, or if I was a provider to clients and I realized how important schema was, I wouldn't even attempt to do it. It's like, I'm not a brain surgeon. I don't want to play one on TV. I'm not a schema expert. Why would I try when the best of the best is already available, right? And these kinds of programs like spring training give people an opportunity to have their eyes opened and to have their brain expanded, to get a taste of something they may never, ever have even heard of before.
Yep. Right. And we have Simon Cornelius and Andrew Ansley coming also, who are also right up there in the top of this schema on page game. So
I can't wait.
It's pretty exciting. I joke around and say the four best schema people in the world are going to be at SEO. It's 4 of the 5. There's definitely other good ones out there, but it is exciting that we can bring some different views, different looks for different things. Especially the breakout rooms, and then especially the type of things that we're going to be going through on stage compared to the afternoon. I don't know. At least on paper, it looks like a good blend. We're pretty excited about it. And then, what's your opinion of AI? Are you playing with AI at all? Are you?
I am
kind of just watching it. You're a studier. I know that. You're kind of like the professor.
So. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. I am playing around with it. but I'm being very cautious
Mm-hmm.
because it's so easy, even today, with all the improvements that have been made since OpenAI came out, and ChatGPT has gone through several versions, and now you've got 14 other AI resources available. If you ask a question the wrong way, or you don't clarify what you're looking for specifically enough,
Mm-hmm.
AI is the perfect example of garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
So I'm playing with it.
Now you've got some large enterprise type clients. Are they using it within their organizations also, or they're kind of dipping their toes in the water, so to speak?
I'm seeing 3 different uses of AI on the client side. The more sophisticated clients, the larger enterprise, the really successful players, the 9-10 figure behemoths,
Mm-hmm.
they're using AI to generate ideas. They're using AI to give them a broader scope of topics, let's say, right? You want to do, you're looking for topical authority, you want to deeper keyword clusters, you want to know more questions that people might be interested in about a particular subject. You can get AI to generate amazingly deep lists.
Mm-hmm.
And take it even deeper. Oh, give me another level of depth. Give me another level. Keep going. Keep going. I remember there was a tool that a lot of us used to use a while ago, which was Answer the Public.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go in there and ask questions, and it would give me things to think about. Oh, I never thought about that question.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't touched it in years. AI can do things like that.
Yeah.
I also see mistakes being made with AI, though. I see clients using AI to generate the equivalent of what we would do in the older days of, mass page generation, right? Just spin tax on steroids. So I think that's a mistake. I think that will come around to bite you in the rear end. It's funny. I was having a conversation with someone the other, and we were talking about the helpful content updates, which are still going on,
Mm-hmm.
right? We all see it. And I still see people posting in all the Facebook groups, oh, my site got crushed during the helpful content update. What can I do? And, I had 82 pages of articles, and I'm realizing that even things that I believed were kind of sacred in the world of SEO 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, I'm now going back and questioning those, right? I would have said to you 2 years ago that volume of content was a major factor.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say it isn't an important factor, but you ask, who is the content supposed to be helpful for?
Yeah.
Right? And there's an argument to be had that Google's helpful content update is not about your content being more helpful to the consumer. It's more helpful to Google.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I tell every one of my clients, I have this thing with new clients where I'll sit down and I'll say, in the very first time, I'm going to say some things that you might find strange. And if we're still good after this conversation, I think we can work together.
That's golden.
And I say some very weird things. I'll tell people that, of course, that websites don't rank. There's no such thing as a website ranking.
Mm.
And a lot of clients will look at me like I have 4 heads. No, pages rank.
Mm-hmm.
And a website is nothing more than a collection of pages. and so on and so on. And I'll go through 5 or 6 or 10 of these kinds of, for me, the purpose of SEO, of doing SEO, is not about ranking.
Mm-hmm.
It's about getting the click.
Yeah, 100%.
And when you change your mentality from I need to get to position 1, I need to get to position 2, I need to get in the top 3. It used to be a couple of years ago that the player for any keyword who got position 1 was getting roughly 15 to 18, 19% of all the clicks for that keyword. And as you went down in position from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, your percentage of how many clicks you would get for the search pretty much got cut in half with position. So it really was a scramble because, getting 15% of all the clicks for searches for something that has large volume, being twice as much as position 2, you really had to get to position 1. So all your efforts were focused on how do I get up higher? How do I get up faster? How do I beat out the guy who's in position 1 right now? And I've learned, I'm not saying getting to position 1 isn't important, but Terry and Clint, you and I have had conversations about this, and Elisabeth, you and I have had conversations about this. I play the game from the outside in. I ask myself, what would the consumer do? Why would the consumer do it? Why would the client look for something? What would cause them to take an action? What's the psychology going on in their head? And if I can make that happen on a Google SERP, I'm going to win for my client. So I've changed my tune. I really, really struggled for years to learn everything I could about getting my clients into position 1, position 2 for their, important keywords, their high volume keywords. And I've changed my thinking on that. If you, and all of us do this, every one of us, even on this call, does this. You're looking for something. I don't care whether it's a clock radio or an iPhone case, or I don't care what it is. You're typically not going to Facebook looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to Amazon, or you might go to Google. I think Amazon has become a very serious competitor to Google, more so than ever. So I studied the way Amazon's A9 algorithm works and how it gets customers to do what it wants the customer to do. And then I can apply that to Google SEO, and it really, really works. So what happens is, I'll tease a little bit. I'm not going to give away right now how this is done, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and I'm going to teach this at Spring Training. You're searching for something, and you go to Google and you type in the search query. You get a SERP, right? Results return page, whatever you want to call it. What do you do? And I'm not talking about those of us in the industry, because we look at things differently, right? We're looking at the words they're using in their page titles and the structure of their URL. The consumer doesn't do that. The consumer is doing is they're scanning the SERP that comes up, they're scrolling through it, and they're not stopping to read every single word. And I'm going to throw a word out that you guys know, but some people may not understand as deeply as they should, and it's the concept of heuristics. We as human beings are bombarded with so much information every single day. We don't have time to parse it in our brains to the depth that we would like to, or that maybe we even should. So we have shortcuts in our brains that just make decisions for us, kind of thing. So I found that when people are searching for something on Google, they're going to scan the SERP and their eye is going to stop on the very first page title that they see, that their brain subconsciously is telling them that's what you want. That's what you're looking for. So I would rather my client be in position 4 or 5 and get the click every single time than be in position 1 and not get the click. So I'm not fighting for position. Page 1, sure, of course. But I'm not fighting for those top 3 positions the way I used to. Now I'm fighting for the competitive advantage of stopping the consumer's eyes in their tracks as they scan down the page so that they have to say, wow, I need to know more about that. And it occurred to me that there was an analogy that one of my mentors told me decades ago. And I didn't really understand it until much more recently. You're out looking for a job, right? What do? You write up your resume and some cover letters and you send it out to everybody in the fields you want to work in. And I was taught many years ago that the purpose of a resume is not to get you a job. It's to get you an interview. And at the interview is where you sell yourself on why they should hire you. And I've applied that to SEO, where I'll look at wording and structure of page titles and URLs now that trigger certain psychological reactions in the consumer mind, because ranking on Google is no longer, to me, about getting the job. Mm-hmm. It's about getting the click. Once you get the click, now it's up to your website to do the rest of the work, right? To take them down the conversion path or get that form fill or pick up the phone or whatever it is to do. And in each industry, there are different factors that apply. And I'll throw a couple at you that you'll probably know much better than I'll ever know. You guys do a lot of work on local and service related businesses. When people are looking for a plumber, let's take a plumber as an example. When you're looking for a plumber, it's probably not the best day of your life. Your toilet's overflowing, your water heater blew up, the pipe is leaking, you've got a slab leak, the rain came through your roof. You need a plumber, you got a problem. And you need that plumber fast. And they need to know what they're doing. So to me, not everybody has an emergency when they need a plumber. Some people just want to install, new appliances or whatever. But the large segment of that market has got to be something's going wrong. My toilet's overflowing. I'm flooding. Well, if you're flooding, what is it that you really need? And what you need more than anything else is speed. You need somebody to get their ass over to your house right now, find out where the problem is, and fix it. So plumbers that talk about 24/7 services and all of that, that's not nearly as important in my way of thinking as guaranteed will be there in 20 minutes. Now, you can't say that in every location, right? But what are the factors that really matter to the searcher that will get their brain subliminally to trigger a heuristic that causes them to click on one listing as opposed to another? That's the win. And I found that it really makes a big, big difference. So I'm going to teach a couple of examples of that at spring training. That's one of the things I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff that makes us look at things differently. I think Clint does the same thing. It's just, what's behind the click, One of the big things I learned just a couple months ago in an event is the magic question of, why are you calling me today? What's different than yesterday, type of thing, trying to find the intent of why we're even having this conversation.
Yeah.
And it's a different way to look at things, not just necessarily on, when you finally do get the click, but what you say in that title and description to get the click, to get, obviously, like you said, getting to the top is great, but I've got definitely a lot of traffic through 3, 4, and 5, just because
Sure.
I've done
And you're
something
happy with it, right?
totally.
Because
Yeah,
if you're in position 3, 4, 5, and you're getting the majority of the traffic for the click, there's no advantage to you to be in position 1 or 2 and get less clicks.
for sure.
And
Exactly.
it's harder, right? So, we
And then
all,
and the first position doesn't necessarily mean it's the highest converting one either. A lot of people hit that first
Absolutely.
position and they bail. I've also shown that in like different types of tests.
You just said something very magical there. I don't know that it's they see first position and they bail as much as they see first position and they say, what else is out there for me? What are the other options? Because we've learned to scroll through a page faster than ever before. And as you're scrolling through a page, I remember the days where you'd write a blog article or an educational piece, and it would be 800,000, 2,000 words long. And you would just have this massive page, maybe a picture here and a photo there or a table, but there are no calls to action inserted anywhere in the page, right? And now, because people scroll so quickly through large blocks of visual material, you've got to interrupt. That whole concept of being disruptive is more important than ever before, but in a different way. And to me, the different way is all about, how do I say this in an easy way? The different way to me is about understanding motivational intent. Not just intent, but what's the motivation for your intent? Because if I don't know the motivation for your intent, it's hard for me to plan to serve you that information. Yeah. But if I understand that in a given topic, there might be 6 major reasons why people do this, I can now structure my website content, my silos, or whatever my structure I'm going to do around these 6 big topics, so that I can cover the bases.
Exactly.
Because I don't know what you're searching for until you type in your search query. Mm-hmm. But even when you type in your search query, I don't know why you're looking for it. Right?
Gold.
If I could know the why you're looking for it, I could give you a better answer. And I could be prepared to say that, okay, quit smoking, pick a topic. I don't care. Any topic at all. Here's where AI comes in. I can go to AI and I can say, give me the top 10 reasons why people refuse to quit smoking. And it'll give me a list. And I'll ask the question a different way, and it'll give me a slightly different list. And I'll ask the question 18 different ways, and I'll get 18 different lists, and I'll compare them all and dedupe, and I'll come out with there are 6 or 7 reasons that always show up on every single list. So I have to assume that people who are searching for how to quit smoking are going to fall into one of those big, pervasive topics. So now I can build my website around that.
Exactly. It's awesome. And that's exactly what, we've talked about many, many, many times. And I just love that part of thinking about something differently and expanding on we're so query based right now, at least on our side, that it makes more sense that way. So, if you're not answering queries right now, you're really not answering Google or, or even people looking for that query.
Can I tease one more thing?
Sure.
There's something else that I'm working on that I have now gotten to a point of being confident enough, comfortable enough, testing it in real world environments. I've tested it on e-com, a couple of enterprise websites. I see no reason why it wouldn't work for local services just as well. And I call it the dating pool game. So you and your buddies, you're all single and you're going out and you're hoping to meet the woman of your dreams, right? And you're all going out to a restaurant or a party or a club or a bar or wherever you're going. And you walk in and there she is. For some reason you say, that's the one. Well, guess what? There were 75 other guys in the same place that are looking at her. So what's your objective? Your objective is to take her out of the dating pool as quickly as possible, to get her away from any other competitor. So I studied this on Facebook first with PPC advertisers. And the lesson that I came away with absolutely blew my mind. Now, this may be obvious to you guys, or obvious to other people in the industry, but it wasn't obvious to me as it is now. And you can all test this. Go to Facebook, scroll down your feed, see an ad for something, a paid ad, sponsored ad, and click on it. Now, I happen to really, I have a strange addiction to shoes. I love shoes. I don't know, maybe it's something from my childhood. But if I see a cool pair of shoes, I want to take a look at it. How much is it? Is it available in my size? Where is it made? Is it real leather? There's questions I have because I love shoes. So God forbid I'll go through my feed and I'll see an interesting pair of shoes in an ad and I click on it. Within 3 minutes, my feed is absolutely full of 50 other shoe ads. Because what I've done is I have told Facebook I'm interested in shoes. I have put myself in market for shoes. And Facebook is going to throw shoe ads at me until I just absolutely blow up and decline them all and hide them all. And why? It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant, right? So now I'm thinking, how do I apply this to SEO? You sell widgets. You sell roofing services. I don't care what it is. And in the world of SEO, I'll go to Google and I'll search for something. And again, the heuristics make me scan the page. So I see something that resonates, might like it, might really think that's what I want. And I'll click on it. And I'll now be off Google. And I'll be on your website. And if your website doesn't instantly wrap its arms around me and draw me in like a Venus flytrap, whoosh. If I decide I really didn't like those shoes, what am I going to do? My brain has now been prompted, I've been teased with a pair of shoes, like you might be teased with a good rack of ribs on the Traeger, right? I've been teased by shoes, but the shoes that I clicked on, the website that I clicked on, they don't have what I want, or I didn't like something about it. But now I'm already in the mood. My appetite has been whetted for shoes. So I'm going to go back to Facebook and I'm going to click on the next shoe ad and the next shoe ad and the next shoe. So what has happened is the website that was fortunate enough to get me to be the first clicker and lost me has actually given me to their competitor, because I am more likely to click on a shoe ad now than I was before. And I studied this in about a dozen different industries, and it's exactly the same in every single industry. So I've developed a process for combining, and you guys are going to like this, but people like Andrew Ansley are going to love this because he's a CRO nut as well. There are ways that you can craft your SEO in such a way that you are going to get the click, or much more likely to get the click, that you then immediately tie into something you do on the website, on the destination where the click takes you, so that you take this target, this prospect, who hasn't yet bought from you or signed up or called you, you take them out of the dating pool. You do something that is so unbelievably irresistible that you would tell me I'm out of my mind if I recommended you did this. I'll give you the extreme example. You're shopping for a new car. You don't really have a brand preference. What kind of car do you want? And you'll go to a BMW dealer and you'll test drive something. You'll go to a Volvo dealer and you'll test something. You'll go to a Ford dealer and you'll test something. You'll go around and you'll test, right? But if the first dealer you walked into said, hey, you're the 1,000th customer this week, pick out any car you want. It's only $10. You're not going anywhere else. So what can we create on our individual websites based on our products or our services that is so unbelievably irresistible that the consumer or the prospect would be absolutely out of their mind to not take the bait? Now, in e-com, this is an easier kind of question than it might be in services, right? How many times do you get your roof redone? You know, once every X number of years, if not much.
You hope.
If at all, right? So, but in e-com, if I'm selling supplements, maybe a bottle of supplements is a month's supply. I got to come back and get more of them. But if I don't like them, I'm going to another brand. So what do you want to do? You want to give me a reason to never have to go looking for another brand. And unless the product absolutely is a disaster, right? Give me something that's so irresistible that it would cause me some level of pain to not do it. Give me money. Give me 80% off my next purchase, as an example. And I've come up with a dozen tactics to execute this for different types of websites, because it makes a big difference, right? If your cost of goods is $8 a unit, it's radically different than if your cost of goods is $400 a unit, right? You can't give them away. But the dynamics are the same. If I'm lucky enough to get you to go out on a date with me, I don't want you dating anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm teaching my clients that they have to look at prospects as it's got to be love at first sight. Because if it isn't, the prospect is going someplace else and you have lost them. Not only that, you have actually pushed them away from you. It's your fault that you didn't get them. It goes back to SEO, because if you don't get the click, you don't have a chance to do that.
100%.
So we tie SEO into an instant engagement opportunity on a website. And that's one of the kind of new secret sauces I'm going to be giving away at spring training.
Cool. Yeah, no, we're excited. It's you blow people away every time you speak and explain things. Go out and join his Facebook group if you're not already a member. It's one of the best Facebook groups out there for sure. Clint, you got any questions for Mr. Marty? You're muted. You're muted.
You sit back and kind of watch him and listen to him and just thinking and like, Jesus, now you gotta. In his course, I have to go back and watch his videos 4 or 5 times, because every time you hear something new, and that presentation there was just, just like that. I mean, if you get a chance to watch this over and over again just to hear what he's saying.
So here's a plug for spring training for people who haven't got their ticket yet or haven't made up their mind about going. Even if SEO is not your primary business in digital marketing, you need to go. And you need to go because you're going to learn things that are not exclusive to organic ranking anymore, that will impact all of your paid media, all of your earned and owned media. It will impact everything you do for your products and sales on all your other websites and marketplaces like Amazon and service directories. It will change the way you look at marketing as an entire ecosystem. SEO is no longer a standalone, separate topic. It is now an absolutely critical component of your bag of weapons in marketing of all levels, period. And if you don't learn some of these things, you're going to get slaughtered.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great. So here's the coupon code. All the coupon codes are going away here this week. So if you guys are serious about coming, I would get it pretty dang quick. So also the room block is ending in the next 10 days or so, I think. But yeah, you don't want to miss this event. This spring training is going to be spectacular. We're going to have another podcast here in a couple of days. I've got a couple more speakers that we want to introduce you guys to. If you have questions during these things, please let us know. Elisabeth and I and Clint will be happy to answer any questions you guys have. If you're on the fence, just message me. Okay. So I'll make sure it's worth your while. So anyways, we're a little bit over an hour. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, we just have a couple of VIP tickets and a couple of the Tech Mastermind tickets left. Those are almost completely sold out. So I highly recommend, if you guys want some swanky dark secrets or you want to come hang out with us at the ball game, you might want to get your tickets quickly.
Is Taylor Swift going to be in our box?
Yeah, no comment.
No, because then Travis Kelce has to come too. So
yeah, really.
Can't have one without the other nowadays. So, anyways, guys, thank you, girls. Thank you for joining us. We're very excited that we got to do this. Please reach out to us if you got questions for Marty. Join his group. Like I said, his group's one of my favorite groups to follow stuff in. He throws out some nuggets all the freaking time that makes you kind of think of things differently. So,
by the way, I want to throw one more thing in, and I think I mentioned this to either you, Terry, or to you, Elisabeth, as kind of a added incentive, an added bonus for people to come out to spring training. Everybody who buys a ticket to spring training, I'm going to give them my entire course for free.
Wow.
That's digital swag right there that you don't want to miss.
Yeah, I'm going to give I'm going to give you a code that will enable you to access the entire course for free, unlimited. So
that's awesome of you, Marty. Thank you.
yeah, I think all of us are moving into a new era where marketing is no longer fragmented as it was into so many different pieces that you had to put together. I think every piece affects every other piece now. And we're dealing with an ecosystem that SEO is a part of. It doesn't stand by itself. Now, could it? Sure. Are there people who only do SEO and specialize? Of course. There are people who are brain surgeons and all they operated on is brains, right? But it's still part of the human body.
Yeah.
So SEO is becoming more and more integral at the top of the funnel, but it's also becoming more and more integral at the middle and the bottom of the funnel.
Agreed.
And if you can grasp that, you win.
Awesome. Good deal. That's very kind of you to offer that to everybody too. But yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, I've been saying at least for the past 18 months that you can't just be an SEO anymore. You can't look at it one dimensional. You got to look at all the different aspects of it. Don't forget, everybody, if you have an agency and you want to bring people from your agency to the event, contact Elisabeth directly and she'll work out ticket stuff like that for you guys. Otherwise, like I said, let us know. Thank you again, Marty, for joining us, and Clint. Always a pleasure to see you guys. Two of my oldest friends in this business, and two people that we credit the success of SEO Spring Training for, especially when we did the first one. We wouldn't have done the second. We wouldn't have done the other four if the first one wasn't awesome.
The first one was absolutely staggering. So, I'm just a voracious eater of all the information that I can get from the crowd of people that you put together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, check them out online. Check a lot of these people, our industry, especially our side of the industry, hasn't seen much of. Then there's people that are coming that I've been wanting to come for years, and they were finally able to make it this year. So we're super excited. So
absolutely.
Take advantage of it. We got a little over 30 days left, so we're going to be putting more and more stuff out there for you guys to get excited about this thing. But yeah, get it before it's sold out. If you want to go play baseball, or not play, but watch baseball, I don't think you'll let us play.
No.
But yeah, just come on board. We have a golf day that's very popular on Thursday. I think we're even taking some people to the gun range Thursday. So we have a bunch of stuff going on. Hit up the website to take a look at it and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.